Hello guys, welcome back to our second Fantastic 5 setup, which is the SNRC continuation type 2. So let's get started. So let's have a look at the SNR continuation for the type 2. So it is the siblings of the SNRC1 and it is also a continuation setup. The only difference of SNRC2 from the SNRC1 is the entry point, which is for SNRC2 we'll be using the drop based rally or the rally based drop, whereas the SNRC1 is using the drop based drop and also the rally based rally. So let's have a look at the SOP. So for the SNRC2 SOP, there will be 3 only, whereas the SNRC1 only 2. So what are the 3? First, we have to find the entry point, which is the drop based rally. Second thing, this capital A has to be within the entry point zone. So this is very important. With these two, then we can identify. The next one is to break 2 resistance. Now let me explain to you here. So this setup is a buy setup. As you can see, this will be our capital A drop based rally. Okay, whereas if you look at the candlestick, it will look something similar like this. For this example, I'm going to use the bullish engulfing as our drop based rally. So it doesn't have to be a bullish engulfing. It could be a different candlestick as well. Most important part, we have to identify that it is a drop based rally. Okay, and it is aligned together with the capital letter A. So what we should do is we should mark a horizontal line at the capital A. Very important. The capital A is, this case, is the resistance. Very good, guys. So next, what should we do? We mark the zone. Okay. So for this SNRC2, how do we mark the zone? Is a little bit different than the SNRC1. The SNRC1 will mark the zone according to the body base of the drop base drop or the rally base rally. For SNRC2 case, there is no specification of how you want to mark the zone. Most important part here is that we need to know that this capital A or this resistance here, it must be aligned together with the drop base rally. Okay, like as you can see, this is aligned together with the drop base rally. So here we can see the capital A, which is the resistance. So second thing, how do we identify must break the 2 resistance? So the first resistance we're looking at is the capital A. So this capital A here, it was broken. So you can see this line chart here, it broke this previous capital A or the previous resistance. The next is this top here. It must break the second resistance. Okay, so break the first resistance, break the second resistance. Same goes like this. Okay, so this is how it looks like in the candlestick. Something very similar. Do you get it, guys? Don't get confused. This is a very simple SOP. So first we find the entry point, okay, which is the drop base rally, and then the next thing we need to find is the capital A has to be within the entry point. As you can see, this is aligned together, aligned with the entry point. And third, it must break the 2 resistance, which is, this is the first one, broke the second resistance. So resistance 1, resistance 2, it broke. Okay, then price will come back to this zone and continue upwards. Got it? Very good. So here I'm going to show you another example, whereas the drop base rally is a little bit lower than the capital A. In this case, as you can see, this drop base rally, as you can see, drop base rally. So this is our entry point, right, guys? Our entry point. So next thing what we should do is we mark the horizontal line at the capital A. This is capital A, the resistance. Okay. Next, we mark the zone. So this zone, like I said earlier, we just mark it. Why? So that we can easy to identify. There is no specification how you want to mark the zone. In this case, I'm just going to mark a zone so that it's easy for me to identify when the price come into this area. So the next thing, what should we do? is to make sure that we break the two resistance. But before we break the two resistance, okay, what we should check now is the drop base rally has to be aligned with the resistance. Okay, so here in this case, the resistance, okay, is slightly above the drop base rally. This is fine. Okay, so resistance capital A is slightly above the drop base rally. It is fine, no issue. This will be okay, acceptable. It's a good SOP, acceptable SOP. Okay, so next thing what we should do is we should mark the first resistance. It must be broken. Second resistance must be broken. First resistance broken, second resistance broken. So once it broke two resistance, the third SOP, then only we can count this as a good, valid SOP for SNRC2. Price will then come back here and continue on the uptrend. Are you able to catch this, guys? If you're not, you can just go back and watch it again. Okay, just remember, it's only 3 simple SOP. It's not very difficult. So let's look at some of the example. So here, I do have a goal on the M5 chart. So are you able to identify a potential SNRC2 setup here? I'm going to give you a few seconds. Have a look. Okay, so what is the most important part we need to find? The entry point for a buy setup is the drop base rally. Get it? And the capital be aligned with the drop base rally. Okay, so we found out here, this is the capital letter A. So this is the resistance. And aligned with the resistance, we have the drop base rally. Okay, so this resistance is aligned together with the drop base rally. Next, we should mark the zone. Like I said earlier, the zone we don't have to mark at the exact place, not like the SNRC1. For SNRC2, we just mark it so that it is easy for us to monitor when the price comes back to this area. Okay, now where do we set our PO for SNRC2? We set our pending order buy limits on this horizontal line here. Okay, so this will be your pending order for your buy limits. So remember, guys, if you're using a non-ECN account, make sure you need to add your spread. If you are using a raw or ECN account, make sure you have to add a little bit of spread, because there is some small spread for ECN account or the raw account. So you make sure you do know how to add up your spread, or else price comes in, sharp entry, and then it miss your order and continue on the fly. So you might miss a very good opportunity. Okay. Next thing, what should we do? We go to the line chart. As we can see, the line chart, this is the capital letter A. So this capital letter A is aligned with the drop base rally. Okay, so we have the first one, drop base rally, the capital letter A aligned with the drop base rally. The third SOP is it must break the two resistance, resistance 1, resistance 2, okay, and then price comes back to this area, see, come back to our order and continue on the upside. So we have one example here. Let's look at another example again. Now, guys, try to identify where is your entry point and the capital letter A. This is a potential setup. Found it? So let's mark the horizontal line first. Yes, this is the capital letter A. Okay. Next, it aligned with the drop base rally. As you can see, this is not an engulfing candle, right? So this is a drop base rally. So we use the SND base as our entry point, capital A as our guide. So this is where we set our buy limit. Got it? Next, what should we do? We mark the zone. As I said again earlier, one more time, we do not have a specific place to mark the zone. As long as we mark it, just for us to able to identify when the price comes back to this area. Then we go to the line chart to make sure that it is a capital letter A aligned with the drop base rally. So this is the capital letter A, which is the resistance, a sharp capital letter A, and this is the entry point, which is the drop base rally, isn't it? Okay. Then what should we do? We have to check on the third SOP, which is the two resistance must be break. So the first resistance, okay, the R1, second resistance here. Okay, so here you can see that there is a multiple, resistance. So it's okay, just take any of this, the topmost one, the most top, okay, mark it as your resistance. So it broke this resistance, okay, it broke all of this resistance, and then come back down, take our order, and continue on uptrend. Okay, so you get on the buy order very well. Now let's look at the SOP for sell setup. Now let's look at the SOP for the SNRC2 sell setup. This time the entry point for the sell setup would be the Rayleigh base drop, and we will use the capital V, which is the support, as our entry point into the Rayleigh base drop zone. So for the sell setup, we need to break two support. Okay, so let's have a look here. So the entry point for the sell setup is the Rayleigh base drop. Same goes with this candlestick. So the candlestick pattern I'm using this example is the bearish engulfing. So next, what should we do? We mark the horizontal line. So we have to check that the capital V, capital letter V, which is the support, has to be aligned with the entry point, which is the Rayleigh base drop. We then mark our zone. So this zone, as I said earlier, just as a monitoring area when the price comes back to this zone. Okay, so our entry point, our PO, sell limit will be this horizontal line. Okay, aligned together with the capital V, which is the support. So this is where the area you need to set your sell limit. Okay, so this is the capital V. So two support, first support, second support. Okay, so we need to break the first support, second support. After broke these two support, then only consider as a full valid SNRC2 sell setup, which is it met all of the three SOP for the SNRC2 sell setup. Price would then come back to this area and continue on the downtrend. So let's have a look at another example again. So this time the Rayleigh base drop will be slightly higher than the capital letter V. It's no issue. This will be a valid SOP as well. So we first mark the horizontal line. Okay, this is the capital V, which is the support, aligned with the Rayleigh base drop. This is a very good SOP for the SNRC2 as well. We then mark the zone, okay, just as a monitoring purposes. So what should we do now? The third SOP is to make sure that we broke two support. The first support, second support, okay. Then price will then come back to this our order sell limit and continue on the downtrend. So now let's have a look at the example. So here I do have the goal. Okay, example goal for SNRC2. Are you able to spot the support together with the Rayleigh base drop? Give you a few more seconds. You got it? Okay. So I'm going to mark the horizontal line. So I'm going to mark the horizontal line and I'm going to say this will be our support. Why we are not using this? Because this one looks more like a drop base drop. A true support will be like this. 1, 2. Only 2 candlestick. Or maybe 1, 2, 3. Like this, 1, 2, 3, and then go up. Yes, okay. So we do not want like this 1, 2, 3, and then go down. This is not considered as a support. Why? Because this is more like a drop base drop. So make sure you do know how to identify your base for SND, and you do know how to identify for SNR. Okay, have to make it clear. This is a support. Okay, this is a drop base drop, Rayleigh base drop. Okay. Next, we mark the zone, like I said earlier, just as a monitoring purposes. We then change to the line chart. You can see this is a very sharp V, isn't it? And you will start to argue, hey, this is a sharp V as well. Yes, it looks like a sharp V in a line chart because this is a drop base drop. However, to count as a support, this has to be the true support. This is the drop base drop. Okay, so you have to learn how to identify this. So example here, let me show you some example. Okay, so this is a drop base drop. Okay, so this is a good support. This is a drop base drop. Okay, back to this candlestick, back to the line chart. Okay, so the next thing you should do is to mark that it must break two supports. So we have the first support, which is our capital V, second support in this area. Okay, like I said, take the lowest support in this case, and then price comes back to this area and continue on the downtrend. All right, so let's have a look at another example again. So here we have another setup, also goal. Are you able to identify the capital V, which is the support, aligned with the rally base drop? Found it, guys? Let's mark the horizontal line. So here we can see this is the support, okay, drop, okay, support, then we have the drop, rally base drop. So we mark the zone, go change to the line chart, we mark the two support that it broke. So we have the first support that it broke, second support. So once it broke to support, it met all of the 3 SOP. We then can set our sell limit in this horizontal line. So once we set the sell limit, we wait for price to come back. As you can see, price come back, touch, and continue on the downtrend. And this time, price goes down very far. All right, you get it, guys? Okay, very good. So the next thing we're gonna have a look is the confirmation. So how do we use the confirmation for SNRC2 to lower our risk of trading? First, it's always the multi-time frame analysis. This is the keyword, multi-time frame analysis. Second thing, we must look the setup at the higher time frame and make sure that it is a engulfing candle. Thirdly, the setup has to be at the body of the engulfing candle at the higher time frame, and please do not be at the wick or the shadow of the candle at the higher time frame. If the setup is at the wick or the shadow of the higher time frame, then it is considered a very high risk. Therefore, do not take the trade. So let's have a look at some of the example. So here I have another example again, is also gold. Remember this one, guys, that we have a look earlier? Yes, so I'm just going to mark it quick. So we have the resistance, drop base rally, okay, and then we mark the horizontal line, and also we mark the base, and then we check at the line chart. So letter A aligned with the drop base rally, okay, mark the two resistance that it broke. So it has met all 3 SOP of the SNRC2, and we have to check that this setup has to be at the engulfing candle at the higher time frame. So this time frame is an M5 time frame, so we should switch only the most 2 to 3, 1, 2, 3. The highest is only 3 time frame. Okay, so M5 time frame you can switch to M15, M30, or the highest is H1. Do not go to daily, weekly, okay, it's becoming too far away. So stick with this on here, right? No need to go so far away. M5, go to M15 time frame, M30, H1 the most to check for confirmation. As we can see, the setup is in the engulfing body. So this is considered a low risk. It's not at the wick. So we do not want the wick or the setup to be in this area. Okay, if the setup is within this area, we consider as a high risk. Hope you guys get it. Okay, so then price comes back to this area and continue on the uptrend. All right, so let's look at another setup again. So here this time we will have a sell setup. It's the goal again. So we have a support. Okay, we have a support. So this time it's a support. Then we have the rally base drop. Okay, it broke the first support, broke the second support. Change to the line chart. This is a capital letter V, which is support. Okay, so it's aligned with the rally base drop. So we broke one support, broke the second support. Okay, and then we need to check the engulfing candle at the higher time frame. This is a M5 time frame setup. So we go to the M15. We can see that this is a bearish engulfing. Okay, M15 bearish engulfing. This setup we'll consider as a low risk. And then let's wait for the price to come back. Price comes back and continue on the downtrend. Okay, so I have shown you 2 examples with confirmation. So guys, remember, always use the keywords multi-time frame analysis. Okay, make sure that we have an engulfing candle at the higher time frame, and make sure that the setup are not in the wick Instead, it should be at the body of the engulfing candle. So there are only 3 keys for confirmation. It's simple and easy, isn't it? Very good. So here I'm going to show you also some of the invalid SNRC2 setup. So let's have a look here. So this is the drop-based rally. As you can see, the drop-based rally in this case is not aligned with the capital letter A. Okay, if you move to the line chart, it will look like this. However, if you go to the candlestick chart, you can see that the shadow has touched this one. Now remember guys, in all the Bystra setup, we do not take shadow or the wick as any setup at all. Okay, never take the wick or the shadow into account for any Bystra setup. Okay guys, so even though the shadow touch here, no, it doesn't count. It must always be the body of the candlestick. In this case, the resistance A is not aligned with the entry point, which is the drop based rally. Okay, and then there's another one here. Okay, you can see that this entry point drop based rally has come all the way past this previous low. Okay, you can see this clearly guys. It has come way past this previous low and continue to go up. So it broke the first resistance, it broke the second resistance as well. It did meet the SOP. However guys, once this has broke the previous low here, it doesn't count as an SNRC2 anymore. It will look like a QM setup. Low, high, lower, low, higher, high. Price will come back here instead, not here, here, and continue the uptrend. You agree with me on this? It looks more like a QM. So the QM setup you will learn at the next class. Okay, so I'm just going to show you an example. Make sure that it doesn't break the previous low. Okay, the entry point drop based rally doesn't break the previous low. So please be aware on this case. Let's have a look at the example. So here, as you can see, okay, we have the capital letter A, the resistance. Okay, then we have the drop based rally. If you look at the candlestick, this wick touch here, isn't it? The drop based rally wick touch here. So this doesn't count as a good SNRC2, or we don't count this as SNRC2 because the drop based rally doesn't align with the capital letter A. Alright, so we do not take the wick, okay, for any Bystra setup. Okay, I repeat this again, no wick in any Bystra setup. Right, so this will be look something like this, similar like just now that I show you. Okay, the capital letter A, okay, it's not aligned with the drop based rally. However, the shadow do touch this area. So if we look at the line chart, you see guys, see this drop based rally is not even aligned here. It's not aligned together with this horizontal line. So this is very high risk. It's not even considered as an setup for SNRC2. Okay, now let's have a look, another example here. Okay, see this guys. Okay, so we have the resistance, we mark the horizontal line, we have the drop based rally. However, this is not considered as a SNRC2 anymore. Why guys? Are you able to find out why it doesn't count as a SNRC2 setup? Look at this, because yes, it has broke the previous low structure. So instead, this is a SNRC2. It has become a QMR setup, the QM reversal setup. Okay, so this will be the left shoulder, low, high, lower, low, higher, high, price only touch here and continue on the uptrend. So this doesn't count as a SNRC2 setup anymore. Alright guys, so make sure you do know how to identify this. Okay, the QM setup you will learn at the next class. Okay, so here it has become a QM setup. So this is another example again I'm going to show you. Now in this example, this is quite crucial. Okay guys, as we can see here, there is a SNRC2 setup. We mark the zone. Okay, we have the support, we have the capital V aligned together with the rally base drop, isn't it? Okay, so this is a very beautiful SNRC2 setup. Okay, so what we can see, it broke the first support, it broke the second support. So it is a valid, or we call it complete SOP for SNRC2 setup. And then if we change to the H1 time frame, we can see that this setup is a bearish engulfing confirmation. The setup is in the bearish engulfing at the body of the engulfing. Now, we have met 3 SOP, correct? And we move to the higher time frame. We found that this setup is in the engulfing candle. So you're going to be very, very confident that this will be a very good sell setup. Alright, it's going to be the perfect. You're going to full margin it. Alright, but however, guys, we have to know that this price has react from the danger zone. Okay, this danger zone you will later on learn in the next session. Okay, on the next session you will learn about danger zone. So I'm just going to show you about this danger zone, the H1 for the go. Okay, so price has reacted from the danger zone. See, it hasn't reached our entry point. It hasn't reached our setup here yet. We still put our PO in this area. Okay, as you can see, what happened next? Price did not respect the SNRC2. Okay, even though it is in the confirmation candle. As you can see, this is our SNRC2. Okay, we even has a trend line. Okay, we have a trend line as a confluence that we feel that, okay, you see guys, we met 3 SOP. We have an engulfing candle at a higher time frame. And the best part, we have a trend line as our confluence. Yet, why does the setup still fail? Remember guys, when the price react from a danger zone, there is a reason why it named as a danger zone. So once it has react from a danger zone, any setup that you have any perfection within the confluence, any confirmation will become very high risk. Okay guys, this has considered become very high risk. So here I'm going to mark it one more time again. Why setup fail even with confluence and has confirmation? Because price reacted from danger zone, and it is also a very late retest. Price, instead of come all the way down, they should have just come somewhere around here, reacted a little bit, go up, pull back, take this order and continue on the down. Then it will be much safer that way. Okay guys, so I hope this answered to some of your question. Remember guys, the danger zone you're gonna learn later. This will be very crucial, and this is why it is best thing to learn about in Bystra Legacy International is all about this. Okay guys, so you are required to do your assignments. You need to do 5 screenshots of assignments for SNRC2 setup. So if possible, you should mark the horizontal line, okay? Mark the zone, mark the 2 break resistance or support, and then just put a picture of the confirmation, okay, together with a screenshot, just to check that the confirmation at the higher time frame and the setup is in the body of the engulfing candle. Save it in the folder. At the end of the course, you will later on submit to the Telegram group in the assignment group. Okay, I'll see you in the next class.